Good afternoon and welcome to your Rangers Review pre-match show. Chris Jack live from home, Joshua Barrie live from Tannadice. He's the man that's made the journey to Tayside for us. I am otherwise engaged today, all of which will become clear in the coming 24 hours or so. Josh, how's the drive up? How's your day been so far?
Drive was fine, Chris. Yeah, it's a nice day here. 12 o'clock kickoff. The game hasn't kicked off yet, so we can be somewhat positive about what might happen this afternoon. But yeah, looking forward to it. It's a huge game, as we said on the podcast over the last couple of days. There's a lot of noise around. There's always a lot of noise, a lot of off-pitch noise surrounding Rangers over the last year or so. And the best antidote that I'm sure Philippe Clement and others will be hoping for is 3 points to try and quieten that somewhat. So yeah, a few interesting points in the team selection which we'll get into, and intrigued to see how Rangers get on today, because they simply put they need a result.
Before I read out the side, I think the comment from James here is one that's going to be mirrored by quite a lot of people over the course of this conversation. Your Rangers side, I shall bring it up just now. Your Rangers side for today is Butland, Sterling. No, it's not. That's the wrong one, is it not?
That's the wrong one. But I'll bring up the Rangers side as you talk away. I'll read it out for you. Yeah, technical issues pre-match. That's how people know we do it live. Butland, Tavernier, Suter, Proper, Chefty, Baron, Diamandi, Dowell, Lawrence, Cortez, and Besser's the bench. Kelly, Bajrami, Casemiro, Sterling, Balogun, Igaman, Raskin, McCausland, and Fraser. So the big news is, Chris, I guess, there's no Václav Černý, to throw it back to you for a second while I sort his team out. And it looks like it'll be Kieran Dowell on the right wing.
I think people might have preferred the side that we were going to put up there rather than the one that has actually been picked. We're not trying to tell the Rangers manager how to do his job, but that's the 11 that should have been there. I think it's I see you see a number of the comments on the show so far. People are not overly enamoured with that lineup. No Černý is clearly a blow. No Bajrami. I think that's the wrong call from the manager, and we spoke about it over the last couple of days. I don't get why you wouldn't start him. No, he's come into the club. I know he's had very limited time in terms of being on the training pitch, but played for Albania during the international break. Is clearly match fit. Surely you give him, even if it's just an hour, surely give him a start. Give the fans something to try and kind of buy into. I just find that a really strange call not to start, especially when the manager must have known the reaction that you mentioned Černý there. The reaction to Černý not starting in the European game against Kiev. That same reaction will now be heard on Bajrami not getting the nod.
Yeah, I think I put out a team this morning, which maybe was the one that I put up by accident. That was what I would go for, and it was a bit of a populist choice, if you will. Chris had Bajrami in there, had Sterling at right back. My thinking was, look, maybe rotation is more likely next week against Dundee at home. But my thinking was, there's no midweek game. James Tavernier obviously didn't have a great Old Firm game. He did create a couple of chances, but there's a lot of noise surrounding him at the moment. And Dujon Sterling, again, it's maybe a discussion for another day, but yeah, he's a right back, and he's not playing in his best position whatsoever. I know he's played, and has been an effective midfielder at point as very loud music comes on around me, but I think a game like today might have suited him. Obviously, Černý, we've got to presume that he has picked up some sort of knock, or maybe after being away over the international break isn't quite ready. Obviously played and started for the Czech Republic in one of their games over the most recent international break. It shows again, I think, the squad imbalance that Clement is still seeking to achieve. He doesn't have loads of options on the wing, and that's heightened by the fact that maybe if Matondo hadn't picked up an injury, you play Cortez on the right, where he can also play Matondo on the left. He can't do that because he's picked up this hamstring injury. I don't think you can play Igaman on the left, Chris, because you need him to be your second striking option off the bench, especially if Cyril Besser were to pick up something off an injury. So a few surprises in there, and I agree with you. I think Bajrami is the big one, because we know he's going to he's been brought in to be that first choice number 10, but in keeping with what Clement has done so far, he tends not to throw players in very quickly, and he's stuck with Tom Lawrence today.
I think the other main talking point, the other surprising name in there is, we'll come on to talk about James Tavernier in his place. For me, that's not a huge surprise that he starts. Kieran Dowell, that is a surprise that he starts, and you've got Barron and Diomande in there as your two. Ahead of that, it's Dowell, Lawrence, Cortez, and Dessers. Again, no surprise that Dessers plays there. Dowell, how do you see him fitting into that side? He's not the most natural wide right option within the group. I think that has to be said. You look at the bench, Ross McCausland on there. The manager said to you at the press conference on Friday that McCausland picked up a knock during international week, but it was not thought to be serious. For me, it's a surprise to have Dowell playing from that side when McCausland is deemed fit enough for the bench. Bajrami is on the bench, and Dujon Sterling, who we know has also operated on that side as well. So that's you spoke a lot about Clement's his setup and what he's looking for in this side. It's only a few weeks ago since we spoke about the importance of natural pace and width, and this is what he's been waiting for, to have natural wide options. It seems bizarre then that you would have Kieran Dowell playing on that right hand side for me.
Yeah, I think the thought process will be he's left-footed, and I'd imagine today, we've seen the fullbacks take on different roles. I'd imagine today it's more Tavernier who provides the width at most moments. Maybe it's to do with the fact that Dundee United largely play a back three, they press on the two. Maybe his build-up shape is going to change. I'd imagine though it's because he wants to play verticality, so more often than not he wants to have that kind of left footer on the right hand side, and Tavernier with the wide option now maybe plays inside more often. I think it was in pre-season, it might have been Ajax away, there was one game where we did see him play on the right hand side. He's obviously someone who's kind of played as like a narrow number 10 or off one of the sides before, but you're right, Chris, he's not a winger. You do have a more natural winger in Cortez on the left-hand side, and we know that Chefty is a player who can give you a lot of different options to move inside the pitch at points. He's not limited to overlapping, but listen, I agree with you. Maybe again, you've got to try and think where Clement is coming from. If McCausland has picked up a knock, then I'd expect he's not ready to play the whole 90 minutes of the game. That also comes into his thinking today. You can get away with those two decisions. He's pinning a lot of hopes on Tom Lawrence today purely because of the fact that Bajrami is coming in to be this out-and-out number 10. We know he's fit. You're right, I asked Clement about it at the press conference, and I said the fact that he's only going to have trained twice, would that lead you to effectively not play him from the start? He came back with an interesting response, Chris, where he said it doesn't help when you don't know your teammates' names yet. Now, of course, he's not criticising Bajrami there, but he had only has only taken part in 2 training sessions up until now, and is very much still getting to know his teammates. You'd imagine that that's a big bearing on his decision. Clement isn't one who seems to make team selections really with how it will be perceived publicly in mind. I think that's fair enough. I don't think a manager should be thinking about replies to a Twitter thread when they're picking a team, but I do think they should still pick their strongest team and make the right decisions. And as you say, there's going to be a lot of focus if Rangers don't get a result today on that team, but it is quite in keeping with what we've seen Clement do so far. He doesn't really seem to have a favourite strongest starting 11. He likes to deviate quite a lot, and he's sticking with Tom Lawrence, who obviously knows the teammates today, as opposed to Bajrami, who's pretty new into the building.
The final point I'll put to you, Josh, before we finish up, there is a lot of comments in the section about the music behind you, the choice of a song from the Dundee United DJ there. Before we round up, James Tavernier, a lot of discussion about him over the break, a lot of discussion about him from the manager at the press conference. Personally, I would have used this afternoon as a chance to give him a rest and to try to do John Sterling in there. We need to see what Sterling can do at right back. We need to know if he's going to be a viable alternative to Tav. I think we're taking Tav out the firing line a wee bit. The manager has decided otherwise. He's stuck with the captain. I don't think it's a massive surprise, but if there's ever the Rangers need a performance, Rangers need a victory. If there's one player that needs a performance today that has to stand up and be counted, I think that's probably James Tavernier.
Yeah, I'll try and speak over. I don't know what this song is, but it seems to be getting louder. This season, Chris, we won't go over the whole Tavernier discussion because we speak about it so often. I don't think there's a question of can Tavernier contribute. I wouldn't be surprised if we were on here in a few hours and he scored a free kick, or he he's had a good game. I wouldn't be surprised, because I think he will over the course of the season. I think the issue is, clearly you can see in Old Firm games at the moment he isn't getting the best of Maeda. Maeda's getting the best of him. Tavernier isn't getting younger, and that defensive side, the agility that he has, the speed that he has, that's not going to improve compared to Maeda. I think the question for Clement is, how do you manage that? And the way that he said he'd manage it in pre-season is he'd rotate Tavernier to keep him fresher, but also to maybe put Dujon Sterling into games that were more suited, and then use Tavernier for games where he's maybe going to have more of the ball offensively, his legs are going to be fresher, and maybe the environment will suit him better. So Clement is backing Tavernier today. Maybe he thought as well he needed to after the Old Firm game. But that's what it comes down to me. I don't think Tavernier can't contribute at all. I don't think that at points of the season he won't shut people up with a performance, with a goal. But equally, I don't think he's someone who can now play 50-55 games, especially when you've got Sterling there, who's hardly played it right back for Rangers at all. Obviously, it comes down to the depth in the middle of the pitch as well today. I just think that rotation needs to happen a little bit more to suit all parties. But today, Clement's backing him. He's leading the team out as usual, and as I say, I've no doubt that at points he will shut up critics with one of those performances. But equally, he's had that Old Firm performance where, yes, he created opportunities, but defensively he was susceptible. Dujon Sterling is a better defender. It's something that Clement has to manage throughout the season, and this is what he's going for today.
Just to go through your Rangers side again before we finish up, it is Butland, Tavernier, Suter, Proper, Jefte, Barron, Diomande, Dowell, Lawrence, Cortez and Dessers. Your subs are Kelly, Bajrami, Casanjiro, Sterling, Balogun, Igaman, Raskin, McCausland and Fraser. Josh, we'll let you go and join in with the singing. Go and get yourself a cup of tea, and you can join us, of course, on the show after the game. Josh will be down in the press conference room as well to speak to the manager and the Rangers player and the Dundee United manager and player. So we'll have full reaction on the channel and on the website later on. Enjoy the game if you can, and we'll speak to you later. Thank you.